Good morning, everyone. 大家早上好。So before taking these precepts, I'd like to take a little time to just to explain what it is precepts is about. Okay. 那么大致上跟大家介绍一下这个什么叫八关斋戒。好。Okay. Well, even it mentioned that 2,000, about 600 years ago. So, I mean, during the Buddha's time, there were several a kind of religious activities, or even like mundane kind of activities going on. People were having a really great debate, what is the best way to spend the time? Particularly 2,600 years ago, it is not just merely about spending the time, but it's also very important what is the most, the traditional language say that's like most fruitful way to spend time. And certainly different religions and different people have offer different kind of ideas, okay? Actually, that if you look at the Buddhist text, that might be one of the reasons why we start to have these so-called 8 precepts being introduced by the Buddha. Okay. 就是简单的说哈，其实在古代2600年前的时候，在印度这个地方哈，就实际上当然我们讲到一般印度，我们一般讲阎浮提比较好，因为那时候的版图跟现在印度不太一样，包括巴基斯坦啊，或者是阿富汗一部分这个哈。在那里实际上呢，他们有很多这个讨论，最主要这个讨论宗教界的讨论，就是在谈到说，怎么样子才有一个更好的一种用我们的时间怎么才能让我们做得更好的福报？好，这个就是一个很重要一个话题。好 ，So I mean, for example, like a certain religions, even though we don't know what religion are they, but certainly it's mentioned in the Buddhist text that some saying that. The best way to do that is that you just follow the holy cow. They have in India they will really worship or they really respect the cow. So a kind of cow, particularly a different type of cow, and then just follow them. And then when the cow where they go, and then you just follow them. When the cow will just stay, taking their food. And you could just stay with your family and having a good time. So that's the reason why if you really go to India, you sometimes see in a certain cave, even in a cave, including some Buddhist cave, for example. So later, of course, even when the Buddhism disappeared in India, that you still see some cave that they have little hole. They were some people trying to chop the little hole there, and why they want to make the hole with a little, I don't know how to say, kind of a place that you could tie the cow. So it's maybe now they don't have that anymore, but in old days, so they have this kind of belief that if you just follow the holy cow, where the cow goes, and then when the cow will just stay any place, maybe you just tie the cow in a certain safe area, and then that's maybe the belief that's like a very religious area for you, and then you could have a good time with your family, having the food, maybe you do your own spiritual, practice and so forth. That certainly is mentioned in the Agama and the Nikaya. So that kind of practice is mentioned in there. So 简单的说，就是有一种的说法，就是认为说，你只要把那个圣牛啊，去过的地方，你只要能让它在那里就是圣牛到了地方呢，那这些人就跟着这些圣牛，但圣牛停在哪里啊，休息啊，或吃草啊，或怎么样，他们就可能就把它圈起来在那地方，然后让他们就在那地方可能做他们的宗教活动，或者是念个咒语啊，或者是说在那边吃个饭啊，或者跟那个自己的这个家人啊在一起啊，这样他们认为这是一个非常有福报了啊，这个就是一种宗教信仰啊。And in some others, one also mentioned the other type of these practices is like, then they have to, in India actually, in somehow certain area in India, it's not easy to get water. For example, if you go to Rajagiri, and in Rajagiri they have a place, before you really go to this kind of hilly area, I would say, and maybe you will pass by a certain area that they do have this spring water down. So I think I've been there maybe 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago. So, and you could see that, especially in early morning. And then there's people actually, they would just gather together. I won't say gather together, they would gather in the spring area, and they would take their morning like a shower, okay? They believe that is really a kind of like holy way, because water is always represent, like a holy water for them. And then after when they finish their shower, you could see nowadays, maybe not that often now. I remember, because I used to travel in there in the past, And then you will see the people, sometimes they stand beside the street or some other place. But nowadays, because of car, a lot of cars maybe changed. But in those days, you might just have some cars, pass by. So in a certain remote area or rural area, so you'll find that people are just, worship the 8 direction or four direction. So, and that's the reason why also we have one of the very famous sutta being addressed by the Buddha, about a young person who worship the 4 direction. Does anyone know that about that sutta? Yeah, but what about in Pali? I cannot remember the name. I have to think about that. Anyway, it's about the worship the 4 direction, and then the Buddha asked him what they are doing. He say, this is how my father, passed out to me, that every morning I need to wash my body, and then I'm washing the 4 direction, and then so sometimes you worship the 8 direction, so that I will get a good luck, and my life will be good, and so forth. Of course, for them, the worship the direction is more like this direction is belong to the Devi, and that direction is worshipping some Devi. Nowadays, at least they explain in such a way. I mean, each direction represent that you're worshiping a certain deities or certain gods and so forth, right? So that's the second kind of the arguing, saying that how you can get great benefit, great fruit by when you have a day off or when you have free, is then you observe a kind of religious activities by worshiping the directions, okay? And that's the second people are arguing, okay? 就是简单的说，就是有另外一种说法，就是要怎么得到这个有大福报。当我们有时间的时候，或者说我们有一天的有空的时候，那在另外的一种宗教虽然我们都不知道是什么宗教，可能这2种刚刚我讲的，就是一种整个当初在佛陀时代，它的整个环境呢非常普遍的一种做法。另外一种就是一早起来要沐浴身体，然后就要礼拜4番或礼拜8番，就是拜这个8番。他们认为这样子做呢会长养很多福报啊。尤其这个礼拜当然我们也因为教我们有本善圣经，就开始谈到有本善圣经，这个你们有空你们自己应该去看。但是我觉得讲就是怎么说？就是当然在现代我们所谓现代就是我们现在所知道的资料就是他们在礼拜的时候，从上圣界角度来说，他并没有解释，他说他并不知道为什么他要拜这么这个4番或者8番所以后来佛陀就跟他讲，佛陀没有禁止他拜，佛陀是告诉他，如果你拜比如说你拜东方，代表你的父母，每天早上起来拜你的父母意思就是说要意念你感恩你的父母。那你拜这个南方，我忘了是哪一方跟哪一方了，我不太记得这些。反正如果你礼拜南方，就代表就是你的儿子啊女儿，就是每天你只要意念他，一早起来的时候，然后你拜东方就代表你的老师们北方就是你的这个出家的这个宗教的这些修行人，像这一些。那么佛陀就给他这个意思但是现在一般我们所知道，从印度他们还是有这个拜4番或8番，但他们拜4番8番都是拜这个神，比如说东方就是什么女神这个南方是什么女神尤其在密系佛教，你肯定看过很多的那么就是他们就会被人讲但是无论如何，在佛陀时代，这是一个当初他们在谈的，就是说这是一个长养福报很好的方法。All right. Now we come to the third one, which is always, in the sutta always mentioned. The first one is which one? Of course, in the Buddha didn't say that it's good or bad. And then the second one, it's also people agree, saying that the best is you wash your body when you wake up, then you worship all the directions. So this is how you get a great benefit. Kind of like that increase your spirituality. But then the Buddha also didn't say yes, good or bad, but then the Buddha certainly said the third part is the best one. This is how you have the 8 precepts mentioned in the Nikaya and the Sutta. 就是当然佛陀也没有说第一个是坏的，也没有说第二种方式是不好的，也没有这么说。只是佛陀在讲到就第3种是一个最好的，那当然就是有这个8戒的由来啊，其中一个原因的由来啊。And then the Buddha say, whenever people are actually, when they have a free time, if they should take their time to observe the 8 precepts, this is how they will get the great benefit for themselves, and then right now, and it's great benefit for the future. 简单的说，就是佛陀讲，如果一旦呢，任何人如果呢，他有一天有空的时候呢，他并不是因为什么。你看，我们中国有中国习俗啊，以前的中国习俗一早起来要烧香，有没有？我并不知道烧香究竟是怎么来的，这个就是是不是道家的呢，还是佛家的呢，还是都有？我不知道。就是家里面有不一定是拜佛的，就是比如说不是拜地主公嘛，这些。那么以前我记得我是长子的时候，我们一早起来就是啊，你是长子，你的做第一件事就是要去烧香。其实那时候根本都不信啊，我还是去烧。I want to say, for example, like a Chinese, normally Chinese, not necessarily you are the Buddhist, but we don't know what the tradition come from. But as a tradition, so particularly you are the youngest, you are the eldest son in your family. And you have to, when you wake up, you have to offer the incense to the deities. Like in the Chinese, you will have this deity for the local, and not necessarily just a Buddhist, but like sometimes if your house is a big house, even outside, you need to put a little niche, because that niche is to protect the land. So you have to offer the incense. And when you wake up, the first thing after you brush your teeth and so forth, you need to really offer 3 incense here, 3 incense here. And that's what I did, even with my grandparents, for example, they were not, at least we don't have a Buddha statue or Avalokiteshvara for nothing, but it's kind of like a Chinese deity there. But I still have to, he say, oh, you have to do that. Sometimes I defend I will kind of protest. Why I want to just offer the incense? They say, because you're the younger, I don't know. You're the eldest in your family, because I'm the eldest son in my family. So that's my responsible. Actually, even there was a time when I was become a Christian, and when I offer that, I always say, oh, worship idol, worship idol. But I still do the job. But I never believe that. But I just, I just have to do the job like that. It's a kind of a very strong tradition in those days. I mean, like even in my time. So that's one of the responsible things. And we think that if you don't do it properly and you don't perform that properly and don't do it right, you might, you might encounter some bad circumstances, and even though we never mentioned that, but the bad thing we don't mention, but somehow we understood by that way. So, 就是一般我们都认为，如果你早上像我们那个中国习俗，至少我长大，那我们家里是拜拜嘛，就是我的祖母，就是我们叫阿玛啦，我不知道就叫祖母，对，祖母。所以那么总是会觉得，如果你这个早上一起来，你没有先洗好刷好牙去上个香，那么那不管你虔不虔诚啊，这个我不知道，但是就会总是认为就是不好，就是不好啊。就像这样，可能你们听了没怎么反应，其实在印度一样的道理。刚刚我讲了2个例子，他们这个是很严重的事了，不是说听听就算了。就像我们，如果你们家里有这种多少信仰存在，就知道就是这样，就好像觉得你算了，今天我不高兴，我就不去烧香这样，这样会感觉有一点觉得可能有点可能会有恶报会来是这样。Okay. But when you look at the 8 precepts, you will find very interesting. Then that's what the Buddha say. Sometimes, a lot of time, Buddha, even though he was really born in the land, like in India, that they have a lot of ritual and religious kind of activities going on. Without rejecting that, but looks like the Buddha trying to emphasize the importance of the morality. And also, whatever you do, it have a lot of things to do with your morality, in terms of your, that will forming a good behavior of you as well as the good mind of you. Look at the list of it. Now then that's why in the same sutta then the Buddha said, so he think that what is the best way to spend a day when people want to have a good spiritual life is to observe the 8 precepts. When you look at the list of the 8 precepts, so like the first one's like not to kill, right? So of course, when anyone who is in the household, just take any woman, because they have, mostly in the old day, they have to cook. Of course, somehow you need to kill something too, and or because you need to clean your place. So because you want to maintain the building, and then inevitably you will kill some insect and so forth, right? So those things, certain during the Buddha's time, and it's because you need to maintain your house because of for certain reason. Killing, certainly not killing the human as the one, but like killing something smaller one. You want some like a fish or little thing. Still, it might happen for a household life, right? But on that day, then you would just, when you take an 8 precept, you knew that at least I know that I try to avoid doing the killing, right? So, and then from that day, so you try to observe the first precept, not to kill anything, okay? It's quite unlike when you take the 5 precept. Generally, we understood when you take the 5 precept means certainly you also observe not to kill, but that mostly refer to not to kill the big animal and not refer to certainly not to kill the human, okay? But when in the 8 precept, it's when you say that you are observing one day, one night, like today you're going to observe the first one, not to kill, and to next day in the morning. Usually after when you're going through the dark, so the next day morning, so the precept is by itself, you will disappear, okay? Because you promise later, when you look at the statement, you promise that you take the precepts in one day, okay? In other words, mean from now until the next day morning, okay? So that is the Buddha say not to kill is as one, and I'm going to explain that each by each maybe later, next day or so forth. But I want to say, when you look at the list, you find not to kill, not to steal, and not to commit any sexual activities. And then the 4th one is not to lie. And the 5th, for example, is not to take anything that will intoxicate your mind, And the 6th one, and I think because some Chinese list, the 6th one is a vikara bhojan. You don't take the food after the 12th. And like that, and those are the 6th one. It's kind of like maybe nowadays, in a certain religion they have fasting, right? But in the Buddhist tradition, we don't have like a fasting like for 1 month we don't eat, like Ramadan for example. So, but you do have the fasting. You don't after the 12 o'clock you don't eat. But you usually, in a strict sense, there are lots of argue about how you should observe it. But generally, in a strict sense, mean you have to, try to take the food, by 12. But please understand, when you say the 12 o'clock, in the old time, it all have to depends on the what you call. Who is it? Kids. Oh, it all have to depends on the what you call. The meridian, is it called meridian? What do you call that one? The sundial? The sundial? Sundial? Yeah. So you have look at the shadow. So in old day you don't have clock, right? What you base is that you have to put a stick on the ground so that you can see the sun. When we say 12, mean the sun really, like you don't see any shadow at all. But when you see the shadow go along, and then, according to Vinaya, that's particularly for the monk in old day, that when people want to argue about that, they can be so particular, the sense that you can only take the food, and depend what you mean by take the food also, they have a lot of debate, okay? But only in 2 finger wide, like, because when you see the shadow going such way in 2 finger, so nowadays maybe you count it like maybe 12, 20 or 12, 15, something like that, okay? But I think that you should ask some people who are very fat, you know, so they have the wider finger. Maybe that you can eat a longer time. Anyway, so it's just a kind of like not have to observe one other precept is not to eat after 12. Okay. But when you look at the number 7 and number 8, look, the list mostly asking you, normally you need to decorate yourself, put some perfume, you dress well. But this is a time you just have to observe your, this is the time that you have to observe your spiritual practices. So, those kind of makeup and so forth become unnecessary for you, right? But I always said, but please don't go extreme, because some people are like that. Before they really like make up themselves and looks nicely, after they become a Buddhist, they become really sloppy, Is it sloppy, right? It's horrible to me anyway. And of course, when you have an 8 precept, you want to just one whole day, you do your practice. So then you certainly, you don't need that. But that's the reason why you have the number 7 and the number 8, and so mention that you don't sit like a very comfortable like sofa, and you don't sleep like a very comfortable like a water bed and so forth. You just sleep a simple bed, so that you can work diligently. So according to the sutta, that is one of the best way actually to build up your spirituality, and this is how you can get the greatest benefit for you to observe core religious observance. Now, other thing I didn't mention, but I will say later, it's about then what you will do, even though you observe this 8 precept, then you start to recollect, right, the 6 things. Recollect the Buddha, recollect the Dhamma, recollect the Sangha, and all recollect the what we call the divine, and then recollect the virtue that you have observed, and the last one is that recollect the generosity you have done. So, and those are the major, not a major, I would say the primary kind of practice you are doing the whole day. So, 就是简单的说哈，就是佛陀讲的要受8戒啊，在那一天，刚刚我讲如果整个的例子来看这8戒，当然这个第1条戒、第2条戒基本上当然跟我们5戒没有什么差别哈，但第3条戒呢，那就跟5戒就很大差别，因为第3条戒我们说不邪淫哈，但是在8戒里面是指说要行放恨，好。行放恨跟不邪淫是2个不一样的事。当你说不邪淫的时候，就说你不做非法或者不对的这种邪淫的事情。但是呢，如果你是说行放恨呢，就是任何跟邪淫有关系的、跟淫欲有关系的都不能做，那叫做行放恨。所以在佛陀来说，这一天呢，其实受8戒呢，那是很重要的，那比别的刚刚我们之前提到的宗教还来的更大的意义。好，那这里面除了这样之外，第4跟第5，第6呢，我们这个就是要持5哈。那第7呢，就是不带这个金银啊，哈，这个不涂香啊这些哈。那当然这个时候主要是因为你都要专心在你的本身的修持上面，所以这个当然你就不太需要哈。那么第8个最后一个就是为什么要说不坐在这种很舒服的椅子，或者睡在很舒服的床，这样我们才能用功。你知道我们只要一太舒服啊，我们就不想动了啊，对啊。那么这样在这个时候受了8戒该做什么呢？一般呢最简单的，当然你们现在是禅修，就是学有不同的禅修方法，你们要修禅修方法。但是在没有的时候呢，一般那你就要开始。比如说一到初1、15的时候，一般在佛陀时代，那么你就要开始要做什么？你就要去念佛、念法、念僧、念师、念天，跟念这个叫什么？戒，就是6个，我们叫6水念。但是有时候呢，也所谓10水念哈，不管怎么样，就是这最基本的啊。那么就是要做修持的 ，OK。And that kind of activities, of course, and during the Buddha's time, particularly, and people who want to observe the spiritual day, normally is during the full moon day and the new moon day. Okay. 当然呢，一般来说，就是在那个时代，其实我在想，在那种文化背景哈，以前的所谓的这个新月跟这个满月的时候， 实际上呢，应该都是他们所谓的放假的时候，对吧？那么如果他们有这个时间，他们就要去受持这个8戒啊，来瞻仰更大的福报。Okay. All right. The rest I would just say every morning. I would just introduce more and more about the 8 precepts. Okay. Why don't we just start to take the 8 precepts? Okay. 那么可能我们就开始先拿8戒。You may have to knee. 你如果 if you can, you just knee. 然后你们要跪起来，如果可以的话。